How to shoot selfies with the EOS R5 and Pocketwards.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you're all having amazing creative days. Today we're going to talk about how to shoot selfies with the Canon EOS R5. It's a nice quick tutorial on how to shoot selfies using Pocketwards, good old Pocketwards. Now there are different ways to shoot selfies with the camera. You can put it on a 10-second timer and wait. Or you can use the remote app, which I don't particularly like. I find the Pocketwards are the best way to shoot selfies with the camera, especially if you're using a lens like the 85. And clearly you can't really hold it at arm's length. It's got to be a little further away. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm also going to show you how to set up the Pocketwards. So if you're shooting photos with one camera, you're triggering a second camera and getting two angles of the same shot at the same time. So you can technically kind of be in two places at the same time. All right, and for those of you who are here watching this video for the EFS 10 to 18mm on the EOS R in 4K, that's what we're filming in right now. And pretty much all the footage in this video, except for the B-roll, is shot with that lens and camera combination. So now you know. And now, let's find those ancient Pocketwards. All right, so these are my ancient Pocketwards from 2006. Obviously, there's newer models out there, but these still work. These things just don't die. So what you're gonna need is two Pocketwards, and you're gonna need this cable from Pocketwards called a remote camera cable. Now, this one is specifically designed for Canon. It has a 3-pin connector for the Canon remote control terminal. Now, Pocketwards does make these for all sorts of camera brands. So if you're using Sony, you're using Nikon or whatever, Pocketwards makes a cable for you. And there's also a lot of third-party brands out there that produce these cables. So take a look on the interwebs and you'll find exactly what you need. If you're unfamiliar with the remote control terminal on the R5, here it is on the right side of the camera, just below the lens mount. Flip open the rubber cover and there you go. All right, so these Pocketwards, believe it or not, are 16 years old and they still work perfectly. They're flawless. I love these things. And so your Pocketwards might be a little different than mine simply because they're newer, but in general, they should still work. So Pocketwards 1 is sending the signal, Pocketwards 2 is receiving the signal and is going to be plugged into the camera. So Pocketwards 1 is set to remote and they're both set to channel 2. Obviously that's important. And the Pocketwards that's receiving everything is set to local. So number 1 is set to remote, number 2 is set to local. All right, now take the remote camera cable and your Pocketwards 2, and I have a camera flash input here, and I just plug the mini jack into there, and the 3-pin connector goes into the R5. On the remote camera cable, you'll see this little box and there's a switch between 0 and 1 on it. I have mine set to 0 and the camera works. I switched to 1 to test it out and it still worked. And I'll be honest with you, I bought this 16 years ago. I don't have the manual. I have no idea what this thing does. I think it's a pre-focus switch. I don't think it makes that much difference on a mirrorless camera, but maybe I'm wrong. If you know what this does, let me know in the comments down below. And if I find out, I'll put it in the video description. All right, now we're almost ready to shoot some selfies, but first we got to change some settings in the menu. First one is in the autofocus tab. Number 1, you have AF operation. Switch that to servo mode, and what that'll do is make sure that the camera is constantly focusing on something. And in this case, what we want is focus on the eyes. So put it into servo mode, then make sure eye tracking is on. Now, a lot of people don't know that you can actually turn off eye tracking by hitting the info button and it'll do subject tracking. So you want to make sure you hit the info button and make sure eye tracking is on. Ta-da! And now we are ready to shoot some selfies. All right, so we now have the remote camera cable plugged into the remote control terminal on the camera. We have both Pocketwards on, set to channel 2, and so you can kind of hide this behind your back if you want. You can get someone else to hold this cable, or you can maybe put it under your foot, under your toe, and just push it with your toe. And there you go. Selfie mode enabled on the EOS R5, and personally I find the like tactile button so much easier and more fun to push than using the phone app and that other stuff. So there you go. Now, the advantage you have with using Pocket Wizards in a situation like this is you can use longer lenses like an 85 or a 70-200 or a 300 millimeter if you want, and you get that nice compression. Now, most of the time when people shoot selfies, they're really wide. So this will give you an advantage because now you can shoot selfies of yourself with a different kind of look. You can get the telephoto compression. So all you got to do is push the button, and there you go. Now, will this setup work with, let's say, an AD400 by Godox? All right, so now we have the Godox AD400 Pro set up here. So we have the transmitter on top of the camera. We have the Pocket Wizard receiver under the camera. We have the Pocket Wizard transmitter here. Plus we have the lavalier transmitter and receiver between here and the camera. So there's a lot of interference happening, and let's see what happens. No problems. So now you can do selfies and set up your camera system. I didn't fire there that one time. All right, so there we go. We can use studio lights with this setup as well. All right, so we're filming on my phone now. I apologize for the sound quality and the video quality. It's kind of like something's happening over here. But okay, so this is the way the camera and Pocket Wizard cable and all this stuff is supposed to function. You have your main camera with a Pocket Wizard on top, and it's triggering your second Pocket Wizard, which is connected to the cable, which is connected to the second camera. Now, what I have done here too is I have the Godox trigger on here, and it's going to trigger the flash. So there we go. We're firing both cameras at the same time and the flash, which is pretty good. The only issue I found, and it doesn't make a difference if I take the Godox trigger off and on, but maybe it's because these Pocket Wizards are 16 years old, is that it's a little bit slow. So it's about every second or so I can take a shot. Maybe with the newer Pocket Wizards, like I said, you'll get a little faster reaction, but it's not too bad for what it is. And when you, typically you'd use these in a situation where you want to get two shots of two different things at the same time. So think about a soccer game, for example. You have all the shooters on the side of the pitch, and then you have a bunch of cameras set up behind the goalie net. So if there's a goal or some action happens, the photographers just push the Pocket Wizard. Oh, there it goes. It's faster if you actually hit the test button. So yeah, so these cameras would be behind the net. And of course, the photographer can't be in two places at the same time. So if there's a play happening behind the net, photographers are just like this on the sidelines getting the shots from the cameras they position somewhere else. So maybe it's a limitation with the R5. Maybe with a different camera, you can shoot faster. Okay, well, that's something to know. But in any case, that's the other thing you can do with this cable. So if you want to get creative in your studio and set up two different cameras in two different situations and get the same shot from two different angles, now you know how to do it. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, can you initiate video recording with Pocket Wizards? Now, I initially thought the answer to that was no, but you actually can. There's a setting in the menu you have to change, and what you can do is you can actually have your one transmitter hooked up to many receivers, so you can have 3 or 4 or 5, 6, whatever cameras all set up, and when you hit the test button on the one transmitter, all the cameras will start recording at the same time. So that's pretty cool. You can kind of set up your own studio with multiple camera angles and just hit the record button on your Pocket Wizard, and all the cameras will start recording at the same time. So that's pretty cool. Thank you to Charles Whitehead for leaving a comment in my previous video about this topic, which I will have to delete because it is now out of date. And now this is the new updated video. So yeah, let me show you how to set up that setting in the menu. It's pretty easy. All right, so first things first, make sure you're in video mode, because if you're in photo mode, this menu option will not be present and you'll be scratching your head wondering what's going on. So switch into video mode, then go to the red tab and switch over to page number 7. Go down to shutter button function for movies, click on that. Go to fully press where it says no functions, switch that to start stop movie recording. And that is it. Now, whenever you hit the Pocket Wizard, it's going to trigger the shutter release button on the camera, which is going to start movie recording, and you're good to go. So there you go. Now you can be a one-person video studio with one button, start recording on all your cameras. You're welcome, and thank you to Charles Whitehead for that information. All right, hopefully this video inspired you to get creative with your photography and try new things. So you're welcome. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Okay, and before I go, did you know that you can save your custom settings on your EOS R5 to a memory card? And not only that, but you can save multiple settings. So you can have settings for weddings, settings for studio photography, settings for landscape, and you can set all those onto a memory card and recall them onto your camera whenever you want. If you want to learn more, check out that video. And with that being said, this video is over. Peace out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.